have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum. Oh.
Hey everybody, and welcome to the first episode of the VHS Doom Podcast. We are super excited to have you here. Every episode we're going to be jumping in and talking about our favorite topics such as movies, music, all things pop culture and cult. I am Dylan Crutcher, one of your hosts, here with my co-host, Mikey.
How's it going, everyone?
Hey. Today on our very first episode, we're kind of going to do an introduction. We're going to talk about ourselves. We're going to tell you guys about who we are, what we like, so you can, kind of figure out if you like us or not. And then you can listen to every single episode forever or whatever, So today we're just going to kind of shoot the, I'm trying not to curse. We're going to talk about stuff and introduce ourselves to you. So, Mike, welcome. Why don't you tell everybody who you are, I guess? I don't know.
I'm Mike. I collect movies. I watch wrestling. I really like music too. I thought this podcast would be great for me and Dylan to do. We've been talking about doing it for years.
Man, like a decade we've been talking about wanting to do it. Yeah. So this is cool. I mean, even if nobody listens to it, at least we get to hang out and talk about stuff. So that's cool too, right? Yeah, awesome. Cool. So how did we meet? That's a question that I wrote down here in my notebook. How did we meet, Mikey?
Well, we were working in Panera together. I think there was one day where I was on Dish and you were still training as a manager. And you were coming by and I accidentally sprayed you and you thought I did it on purpose?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I was like, this mother. Yep. So you would work in the back and you would jam out to some sick songs. And you would put your phone in the little little pan that was your speaker.
So that's the best kind of speaker for that place.
Oh my
honestly.
God, right? For real, yeah. So you'd be jamming out, and I'd come back there and hang out just so I could listen to music. The office was right back there too, so I'd just come hang out and talk to you and avoid doing work because that's the thing to do. Yeah. And then, we started hanging out because we were both really into...
I think I needed a ride home one night, and then you're like, yeah, let's go. And then, we started talking about movies in the car or something.
Right, yeah. I think it was movies. Movies kind of sparked the friendship. And, found out you were, an avid collector. How many movies do you have?
I don't know at this point. I've been collecting since I was 15, and I just turned 32 yesterday, so
what's your best guess? Best guess.
I think last time I counted it was 5,000. I'm not sure.
Oh, you're in the high thousands or in thousands.
Yeah, it's still enough that I can keep in containers right now because I haven't built shelves yet. But
okay.
Yeah, it's a lot, especially like box sets and stuff.
Dude, and have you watched pretty much all of them?
I'd like to say I have.
Yeah.
Or I've fallen asleep during some.
Yeah. Well, that's, a little bit about me, and I know you're in the same boat, but I'm a parent now, so I fall asleep
me too.
all the time during movies and TV. So yeah, I get that. Okay.
Once 9 o'clock hits, I'm either awake or I just pass out while watching a movie.
Yeah. What I'll say though, one thing I'll say that's really impressive to me about you as an individual is you have thousands of movies, but you can also recall a lot of the information about these movies. So who the director is, actors, when it was shot, the years, you really have
things that happened in the movie.
Yeah, you have a good mind for that. So you're a good resource for me if I have questions about a movie. I ask Mikey. So I think that this podcast
and I've given you a lot of them too.
Yeah, you have. Yeah, you've really shared the wealth too, which is great. But I think this podcast will be cool because you have all that knowledge. I can just I can interview you on topics almost because I'm not an expert. I love horror and I love movies in general. I'm a cinephile for sure, but I don't I don't recall things well. Like once I've watched them, I'll be like, oh yeah, I remember that. But you recall things really well, so that's great.
Yeah, I do.
So after we kind of started hanging out and doing movie nights and getting into this kind of stuff, we also kind of got into. Well, I got into screenwriting, and I wrote a couple scripts. So we ended up working on horror effects. We ended up a couple projects. One was Charlie and Annabelle. I think that was the first one, right?
I think so. Yeah, where you had me like walking in the street.
Yeah. So Charlie and Annabelle was about like he was a stalker of this girl. So we filmed a lot of it. I never actually got it to production, but I was proud of it because it was the first script I wrote from start to finish, and we filmed a lot of it. You and Romit really
Oh my God.
You did your best.
We should have him on one time to talk about it.
We should. Dude, I have a lot, like if we put this on YouTube or something, I have a lot of clips now that I can play. I have all kinds of stuff from that project. I just haven't put it together ever. But Romit played the detective who was interrogating you. So the majority of the movie is just an interrogation scene, and you're describing
which became a real life argument.
Yeah, you're describing everything that you did to this girl Annabelle in vivid detail, and like the subplot is Romit, who was playing the detective. His daughter keeps calling, so he's interviewing you about murdering this like young woman, and at the same time his young daughter.
Yeah, I see some creepy stuff in that.
Yeah,
I remember that
his
now.
young daughter keeps trying to get in touch with him, so he keeps getting pulled away from the interrogation, and then that gives you fuel to talk to him. And like,
I think I freaked him out a little bit.
I think you did, because he really does have a daughter, and you were making some comments. Oh man, Carla.
Well, you wrote them.
I did. Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying like my mind is good. It's, but you were saying them. So Carla still quotes a line from that like tiny little project, and that's where you were on your.
Oh, wait, is it the line about? Oh my God, I forgot what it is.
You were going like this section that I wrote was essentially like your analysis of this girl and her life and how you were attracted to her, but then she got into a relationship with somebody else, and you said, I always knew she was a whore.
Oh yeah. That's what it was. Okay.
And
yeah,
that's where the script turned. It turned really heavily into that like dark stuff. So man, that was a lot of fun. I should definitely continue editing that and finish it eventually. I think we were missing some, like we never got to the practical part of the film.
we started talking about that. We didn't even like cast whoever was going to be the girl for it.
Well, okay, so what had happened originally was Romit said, "Oh, my daughter should just play, Annabelle, because that's his daughter, and he could bring her around and play the part." But I think after all the script stuff was read through, like the interrogation part that we filmed first, I don't think he felt comfortable anymore.
No, I wouldn't either.
Yeah, with his daughter playing that role. And then I tried to cast, you remember Marina that we worked with? Yeah, I think I tried to cast her.
But then I think she went to wait for like college or something.
Yeah, so everything just kind of didn't work out. But now that we're older, if we have time eventually one day, we should go back and redo it. I ended up making a short film like a few years later that I submitted to a festival, and I found a platform.
Yeah, I remember you sending me that one.
Yeah, where you can hire local actors, and so we could actually get the project done. So that was first, and then we started working on Brava, which was like the next thing.
I love that movie.
Yeah, so Brava, we started getting into the practical effects stuff.
We started doing trailers too, like different kinds of lighting.
Yeah. So what were some of your favorite effects projects that we did?
I would say when you slit my throat, the whole like a practical effect of it. It was so funny how like it was melted to like my skin afterwards.
Oh my god! Yeah. So we did. I used
The car stuff too. The car stuff too.
Oh, the car. That's where we started. Yeah. So if you look these like trailers up on YouTube, Brava, Brava, and then promo like 1, 2, 3, whatever. You can see Mikey dressed up as like a New Jersey Guido. Almost.
I don't even know what it was.
Bro, it was just really bad.
You gave me a blazer.
I gave you a blazer. I put you in my Mazda and like let you drive and slam on the brakes and start yelling. So the premise was that you were Brava. The character of Brava is someone who's fed up with like essentially just assholes. People who are being rude in day-to-day life. So we started out our filming with you in the car, slamming on your brakes, hitting the horn, and there was an old lady crossing the street, and you just had no time for her. So you were going in, cursing at her, blowing the horn, whatever. And then Brava cuts in and is like, "Are you tired of guys like this?" You know? And then so essentially he's a serial killer who's just taking out jerks, you know? He wears a white mask and uses a voice like a voice distorter, and then he like Jigsaw. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, kinda. And then he kills you on camera. And
Plus my throat, as I'm bleeding out, I start laughing accidentally.
Yeah, well, that was pretty funny, but that's all right. We had a good time. But he kills you on camera so he can distribute, that video and kind of reduce the terrible person count in the world, I guess. But yeah, so the first one that we did, the one where I cut your throat, it was we did it all like ourselves. We got liquid latex that I put on your neck, and then under that we ran a tube out to a garden sprayer pump. So we put fake blood into the garden sprayer pump, and I pressurized it, and then I let you hold the trigger, which your hand was out of frame, and then I was sitting
way back.
Yeah, I walked over with a box cutter, which I left
the paper
box
tip
cutters.
In there.
Yeah, come with a paper cardboard tip, so I just left that in there because it looked real anyway. And then I slit your throat, and you squeezed the trigger, and just so much blood spurted.
I know, it was ridiculous.
Everywhere.
I loved it so much.
Yeah, and you
it's
started
still one of my
shaking,
favorite effects, even just in movies, just because we did it was fucking awesome.
Because we know how it's done, right? Yeah, it was. I had to run the tube behind your neck and tape it to you, and it wasn't easy. It was a long process to do. And then
the clothes I was wearing melted to the chair because of it.
Right? Yeah, it was. There was so much latex and stuff all over. You did, and then oh man, that was fun. We shot that in my mother-in-law's basement.
Yeah,
which was the creepiest.
Mine looks like that
basement.
now. Believe it or not.
Oh, does it?
The last 2 apartments that me and my wife have lived in have had those creepy ass New England basements.
Oh, okay, yeah, those New England basements, man, they are creepy. It's good. It's the perfect filming location. You remember the one little promo we shot? We were doing it at the same time.
Was it the door?
Yeah, behind the fogged glass door.
Yeah, that was my idea.
Yeah, it was like a Gialli promo. So we did cuts in and out, and there was a blue light, and it would fade in, fade out. Fade in, fade
I was
out.
standing behind the door. I was doing it while I had my hand up. It was almost falling.
Right, and then as soon as you put your hand on the window, we switched on. I had a really nice red light that blended well with that blue to make a pinkish purple. That was pretty cool. That was so fun, man. It's such a simple shoot, but that was.
I still have the hand.
Do you?
Yeah.
I think I made you wear a snow glove. Do you remember that?
I think you had. I don't remember what we did for it, but I know somehow it's survived almost 10 years.
Right. Oh, your hand, the silicone hand.
Yeah. I have it on my shelf with all my other horror souvenirs.
Got you. So do you remember why we made those? So we made these prosthetic hands, silicone hands. But I was doing that for another promo with Brava. Where
I know which one. Okay.
Yeah, I kind of put together in that shot, like I used myself as the victim because I think you were busy. I think you might have been like up in Connecticut or something
I
like that
probably
at the
was.
time.
But honestly,
Yeah.
yeah. You cut it with a knife, like the finger.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
we made those so I could figure out how to make a prosthetic hand that I could like cut into the finger and have blood spurt out because I used the same setup with the garden sprayer. So I ran a tube like under a board. I took video and like did makeup on the hand to where like screws were drilled into the
Yeah, that was
fingers.
awesome.
Yeah, and then
It's still
put
on
blood
YouTube.
all
I saw
around
it
that.
recently.
Yeah, so I used a sound effect on that was like the drill putting and then like a scream.
That
And
creeped
then
me out.
yeah,
I don't
you
like
cut
hand stuff.
to.
I don't like
I
hand
know,
stuff
right?
or
Me
eye
either.
stuff.
That's why I did it because I was like, hand stuff freaks me out. So this is going to be a good promo, and that's the
I
only
think
one that I.
eyes are the ones that really like mess me up. I don't like that.
Oh, bro, eyes are awful. But yeah, so in that promo, I cut into that fake hand with a box cutter, and I had rigged it up where that tube was inside of the hand. So as soon as I cut into it, I squeezed the trigger, and just blood spurts out everywhere. And I was using the God, it was a song by the New Mexican Disaster Squad and all of those. I can't remember what the song.
It was a
title
remake. It was a cover of Bad Brains' natural. No, Fearless Vampire Killers. Fearless Vampire
Oh
Killers.
yeah, was that it? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So that whole like that was the only video that I ever put out that got a comment from a random person on the Facebook page that we made for it that was like, "This is horrible."
Did they really say that?
Yeah, it was like an old lady who I don't know how she found the page, but she's like, "No one should ever watch this. This is horrible." And I was like,
Oh my
"Thank
god,
you
that
so
made my day.
much."
I didn't know about this at all.
Yeah, no, I even replied to the lady, and I was like, "Thank you so much for saying that. I know that sounds weird, but we're making all of this ourselves, me and my friend. So for you to say that this looks awful and like, oh my God, never watch this is a huge compliment because we're just two guys like in New Jersey in my mother-in-law's basement making these effects." And she actually liked that comment. I was like, that's the way to turn, someone who's like, oh my God, into it, like real
Honestly,
supporter.
when people say don't watch something or it's like that kind of thing, it usually just like makes me want to.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. For like true horror fans, if they're like, oh, this is sick, you're like, okay, perfect.
Yes, this is what I need.
Right?
More of this.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so I think we really bonded a lot over movies. We also bonded over effects. Yeah, so I mean, yeah, that's how we got to really bond and get to know each other, and then music too. Yeah, so you want to talk a little bit about your interests outside of movies? Like, what are we going to talk about on this podcast that you like?
I usually listen to a lot of like hardcore punk or like death metal. I do like rap music a lot. Mostly like 90s stuff and a lot of underground stuff too.
Okay.
And
yeah.
synthwave music too. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, honestly, I feel like we kind of click on a lot of that. Like I love listening to the old school hip hop. I really like I made my foray into horror kind of through punk, right? Because the Misfits and
yeah, me too. It's funny
yeah.
it was my birthday. My parents took me to FYE, I think it was, or Coconuts. I forgot what it was because it was the one
Nice.
on Route 4, if you remember, in New
I think
Jersey.
it was FYE. I think so.
Okay, yeah. So my parents took me there. I got Night of the Creeps, the movie, and then I had no idea what that was at the time. It was so good. And then Misfits Walk Among Us.
Oh man, yeah, killer, right? What's wild too is like you were right around the corner from Lodi, where they're all living anyway. So like,
yeah, I always thought that was really cool.
Yeah, I'm actually.
That's what made me like them a lot, honestly.
Yeah. I mean,
because they did a demo in Fairlawn like once.
Oh, did they?
I forgot what year it was. It was like it was before the album, which was the year after they broke up. I can't remember.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
They did. So I'm doing. I am the host of. I know you're a host of another podcast, and I am also a host of another podcast. So
I'm a co-host of A Dab of Death podcast. We do a true crime podcast, and then we have a radio show where we play like death metal and stuff. It's that part of it's called Vomit Radio.
Oh yeah, cool.
we'll just like shoot the shit. We will talk about music or like a short true crime case, and then we'll play in between music.
Yeah, no, you play some good music too. And I am also the host of another podcast, which I just started called the Doombox Podcast.
Doombox.
Yes, it is. It's all about pop culture, cult. It's history. It's a history podcast of pop culture. So I've released one episode so far, the Super Mario Brothers, and then my next episode that it will be released.
And I was in the tail end of the first one.
yeah, you were my special guest on the first one. But my next episode that's coming out is actually on the Misfits. So I've been able to kind of like dive into the history deeper than I have in the past, and really get to know the band and their history, and some of the not so good stuff. Later on,
which is like, like Michael Graves being like a proud boy,
proud
or
boy,
like Danzig being a weird right wing nut too.
Yeah, they've gotten weird over time. They really have. But I mean, I'm trying not to let any of that take away from.
Yeah, no, I usually don't.
The first two albums, or like
exactly.
the 80s time frame, So it's that's been cool though. It's been cool.
Have you seen them before live?
No, I never have. Did you?
I saw them
in
2007.
Okay, who was frontman?
It was Jerry Only, Des Cadena on guitar. He was from Black Flag originally. Yeah. And Robo was on drums, and Robo was from Black Flag also.
Right. Okay, so Only was
so it's
singing.
Pretty much
he
Black
was
Flag and Jerry Only.
Gotcha, yeah. So Jerry Only is he's really carried it on like through the years, but they had some really nasty like lawsuits back. He wasn't and forth.
They like to say that he's part of the original Misfits, but he's not. There was a bassist before him.
Yeah, but she, Diane DePaza, or I think it's DePaza, she never showed up. So, like, in my research for this, like, she never even showed up to any, like, one rehearsal. She was in a band with Danzig before, so he was going to use her in this project. Yeah. But she didn't show up at all. So they were practicing without a bassist. It was just Manny Martinez and Danzig for a while, like a couple months.
When did Bobby
Steele
join?
Mr. Jim was after. Actually, so have you heard about Mr. Jim, their drummer? Right. So Mr. Jim was the first drummer, and then he was replaced by Manny Martinez, and then Mr. Jim replaced Manny Martinez. So I was learning about all of this.
I know Robo was with the Misfits for a little bit in the 80s too, right?
Man, they had so many members, and they're all from Lodi.
Bobby
so
Steele,
it's hard for me to keep up. It was like Franche, what was his name? Coma Franche.
Yeah,
He recorded their first album with them.
Well, it's weird. I think Walk Among Us was released first for some reason, and then Static Age was after. It was weird.
Yeah. Walk Among Us was their first album that they put out. So it was Danzig and Martinez. They were the only members because their bassist didn't show up, Diane DePaza. And then they rehearsed, those two rehearsed for 3 months without a guitarist. And they used his keyboard for the rhythm. And then Only joined the band. So it was Danzig, Martinez, and Only when they played their first show at CBGB in April of 77. And then yeah, in 77 they recorded their first single, which was Cough Cool, and they released that through their own record company, Blank Records, in that August. And then Frank Licata, joined under the pseudonym Franche Coma, and then that's when they went in and recorded. Mercury Records wanted to use the name Blank Records, so they offered Danzig a 30-hour studio time in exchange for the rights to that name. So he accepted, and in 78, that's when they did the 17 songs for Static Age. But they weren't able to release it. So, yeah, it was all kinds of weird, like all kinds of out of order. Yeah. Anyway, wild. It's so cool to like kind of jump in and really like learn about all of this and the amount of members that they went through.
There's two other bands that we were talking about, like stuff like that got us into horror. I would say, like, for me, it was Impetigo and Mortician. They were two of the first like bands that actually use like horror samples in their songs.
Yeah.
So like what I did was when I was a teenager, I figured out which like samples from which movie, and then like I just ended up buying all the movies.
Oh, right. No, it's a great way to go about it.
Yeah.
Honestly. Yeah. Yeah, man. No, it's cool. I mean, I think we obviously will have a lot to talk about. I think that just to go over a couple of the topics that you and I were discussing about possibly being episodes. We're going to talk about Friday the 13th, the series. We're going to talk about the Video Nasties. You want to talk about Phantasm? Awesome.
Yeah, I love that. I love that franchise.
Peter Jackson pre-Lord of the Rings, dude. Like
some awesome movies. Dead Alive.
Dead Alive. I remember I watched Dead Alive for the first time with you.
Yes, I blew your mind with that one. That was funny,
bro. That lawnmower. Man, oh
the
man.
priest who says, "I kick ass for the Lord."
Yeah, that is classic. We're going to talk about Romero and the Dead trilogy, Back to the Future trilogy, Poltergeist, and then I'm super excited about this: the practical effects versus CGI. I think we should do a little blurb on I think some of the best practical effects artists out there. Who would you add to that list?
Stan Winston, Dick Smith. Tom Savini.
Yeah.
Current ones, I would say Marcus Koch or Koch. I forgot how he pronounces his name, but he's done a lot of like the American Guinea Pig movies. He's done other kinds of stuff. Before he died, Ryan Nicholson, he did a lot of effects work for like mainstream movies, but he had his own movies which are like underground stuff, like Gutter Balls.
Gutter Balls. Yeah, we watched that. Actually, I think the last time I was up there, we watched that.
I think it was when I was showing you all that weird stuff. Yeah.
Okay, and then we were going to talk one episode. We're going to talk Giallo versus slasher. We're going to talk.
Or maybe how I feel like they were slashers were influenced by Giallo.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because in Mario Bava's A Bay of Blood, there's 2 kills that are taken and used in Friday the 13th Part 2.
Oh, for real? Well, I mean, you have to find your influences. I'm sure that was.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like that was one of the first like high body count Giallo movies.
So, the name of this podcast, VHS Doom, we kind of came up with because we were thinking about it being like revolving around like a VHS rental store, right? So, like this show, we're going to talk about the things that you could go pick out at like your mom and pop VHS store or Blockbuster back in like 1995. That's our subject matter. But in line with the name, we do want to do possibly a show that's about lost movies that are stuck on VHS. They never made it to DVD or passed or Blu-ray or anything. And Mike, being the movie historian that he is, has a list of those and kind of knows about them. So, we've been able to find some on YouTube, maybe go back and we can do some reviews of VHS Doom movies that never made it past. So
yeah, I when we went to one of the horror conventions we went to, I think it was Monster Mania Con, I found a couple of those and I forgot to tell you about them.
Nice. Oh, you're going to a con soon, aren't you?
I might be going to the CT Horror Fest this year.
Nice. Yeah. We which one did we go to?
We went to Monster Mania Con in Cherry Hill. Cherry Hill. So I moved out of New Jersey, so I don't even remember. But
no, you're good.
And then we went to Chiller Theater in Parsippany, I think, right?
Right. That was right. That's right. And you met Kane at Cherry Hill, right?
Yeah, Monster Mania Con. I met Kane and Tony Todd.
I'm probably going to link in the show notes the video that I made about you touching Kane Hodder's thigh.
Oh, God.
Because that's famous for me. I thought it was the best thing ever, and I still chuckle about it to this day.
My wife thinks when Mikey, too.
Yeah, Mikey got to meet. Did you do Tony Todd first? I think you did.
No, second.
Oh, okay.
Because remember there was like a longer line for like at the table thing, and he was just walking by when I asked for a picture.
Why does Matthew Lillard always have the longest line at any of these?
I heard he's really nice. I mean, I like his stuff too. I think he's really cool.
I like the guy. I like him as an actor. I like him in what he's been in.
He was awesome in Scream.
His line is always like to the door.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you did Kane Hodder. You met Kane Hodder, and when you got up there to take a picture with him, you put your hand on his thigh.
No. What happened was
you were posing.
Yeah,
and
like we sat down to take a picture.
He put his arm around you, like on your shoulder, and you just like you patted his thigh.
Yeah, I patted his thigh when I got up. I'm like, oh, awesome to meet you.
And I immediately fell on the floor laughing.
I feel like the picture itself, though, is the only one like that because usually in the pictures he's choking somebody.
Yeah, it's a super nice picture.
With me.
Right, you guys are having a grand old time while you're rubbing his man thigh.
He's going to be at CP Horror Fest.
Hopefully he hears this, and I even put out on Instagram when we had the Brava, on Twitter.
Yeah.
When we had the Brava account, I was like, "Sorry, Kane," and I tagged him in it. He never responded, but I was hoping he would see that video because I interviewed you afterwards. We went outside, and I was like, "What'd you do?" And you're like, "Nothing." It was the funniest, man. I'll link that in the show notes.
That was a fun day
for sure. That was a fun day. We had a good time. Carla came with us to that. Yeah. Too bad Katie couldn't join, but y'all were still living in different states back then. Times really changed, man.
Yep. I'm all the way in Connecticut now.
Yeah. You moved up to Connecticut. I moved all over the world. Texas, back to Virginia.
Back to
Virginia. Yeah. So life really keeps us moving, but I'm glad we've stayed connected, and I'm really happy that we're going to be doing this show and being able to talk at least once a week. Now we text all the time, you, me, Romit, whatever.
Yeah, I'm usually blowing up both your phones with like different movies and stuff.
Dude, keep them coming, man. Keep them coming. I love it. All right. Well, is there anything else that you want to talk about, like about yourself or anything about the podcast? Set expectations with our listeners here.
I just hope everybody enjoys it. We've been wanting to do this for a while. I had some other ideas of just like telling Dylan to watch like these weird movies and then him reviewing them, which would be hilarious. But
let's do it. I love that.
We could do that, yeah.
That's another great idea.
That's literally what movie night was. I would show him just like weird like Lucio Fulci movies or just like I don't know, just weird stuff he's never seen before.
Right. No, I love that, man. And honestly, I consider myself to be a pretty decent writer. So like, if you guys go listen to the Doombox podcast, I feel like I write things out pretty well and I can do some pretty good research into these topics. So if you give me movies that are like off the wall and you're like, "Hey, do a write up on this," I'll write something up and it'll be the bomb, hopefully.
Okay.
But I think we could have some fun with that.
Idea now.
Yeah, right. So you write. We have our little note going where between each other where we're coming up with all the show ideas. So I think that's a good one. But yeah, I'm really excited that everybody that's listening to this is listening to this. And if you have not already and you found us randomly, please go and follow us on our Twitter. Mikey is our social media manager, so he is getting us followers left and right like a champ.
I think we're at 60 so far.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I mean, we haven't even put out the show yet, so we have no show, and people are just following. So you're doing a great job. And then also our Instagram and our Facebook, it's all the same. It's at VHS Doom Pod. So go give us a follow, and Mikey will keep sharing awesome recommendations of movies on our Twitter. I feel like that's why a lot of people are following us.
I think so. I think it's because I'm like retweeting like every like awesome movie I keep seeing in gift form.
Yeah, man, you gotta he has just such a list, so you gotta pick his brain on our Twitter about movies. So yeah, man. All right, cool. Well, we're at almost 40 minutes now, so I think that might take us out on this introductory episode. Any advice for our listeners for their entire lives? What's a profound statement that will change their lives today?
If you wake up in the middle of the night and you see a weird creature, it's Scabby Man. He's not going to hurt you, though. Just don't listen to him.
Scabby Man. He won't hurt you? Just don't go on the roof.
Well, yeah. Well, if he tells you to go on the roof, don't go on the roof.
Or do. I went on the roof, but you saved me.
Yes.
Yeah. Scabby Man can be dangerous. Keep away from Scabby Man, no matter what Mikey says. Don't make friends. All right, cool. You guys have a wonderful week, and Mike, you have a wonderful week, and we will talk soon, buddy.
All right, bye.
Peace.